Hi, my name is Maor and welcome to my YouTube channel. Are you a Lightworker? I'm sure that this question has crossed your mind a few times. You think you might be, some of you are sure that you are, but you're not really sure. But you want to have a definition of what you are. And I can tell you in my life, right now I am 100% sure I am a Lightworker. And I will define what a Lightworker is to make it more accessible and easier. But I can tell you it all started with difficulties. Difficulties from a very young age of not fitting in, of feeling lonely, of feeling misunderstood by my parents, by my sibling, by people in my life, by my friends. I didn't really understand the monetary system. I didn't understand why people keep hurting the planet and hurting each other. I was always non-violent, even though I'm a very strong type of guy. I'm 6'4", I work out quite a lot, but never really understood, never really fit in. And I can tell you it was really, really troubling. It was having a very difficult childhood, in other words. I came back home from a place that nobody understood me to another place that nobody understood me. So I decided to spend a lot of time by myself. I spent time collecting different animals and playing around with them. I spent time on my bike, riding all over. I was raised in a desert, so it was kind of fun. I had a bow and arrow. But only later on, I really understood what the difference is between, we can call them old souls and new souls, or incarnations of people that have come here to raise the vibration in some way. The discovery for me started when I was about 14 or 15 years old. I started reading channeled information, but I didn't know it was channeled. I didn't know what channeling means. I was one of those kids that's attracted to X-Files, for example, and all these like ridiculous sci-fi series that were once back in the day, you know, the Enterprise and Star Wars and all these type of things. I didn't understand why. Now I understand that this was the part of the Lightworker that understands that there is much more than meets the eye right here. And this is one of the definitions, and really it changed my life to understand. And now I work with Lightworkers. Everybody that comes to any of my workshops, they're all open-minded people. They have their own language. When they meet each other, it's like they recognize each other. And that's what I really like. One of the things I recognize in a Lightworker is that we see each other and we understand each other. It's something in the eyes. But what is a Lightworker? So, a Lightworker is a person that has been reincarnated here, out of choice of course, to help elevate the frequency and the vibration of Gaia. Gaia is the name, or the spiritual name of the planet right now. That's the spiritual name in the 3D. It has another spiritual name on the 4D, which is where some of the Lightworkers are actually moving the planet to. One of the definitions of a Lightworker is a person that in the beginning, at a very young age, he feels like something is wrong around here. He feels like he doesn't belong. It can be so difficult that some Lightworkers take their own life, much before an awakened process happens to them. An awakening of a Lightworker is when they actually understand that they are a Lightworker. So one of the things that happened after I started accepting the fact that I'm a Lightworker, without that hesitation, without that 80% I'm sure, is that my life started shifting. I started meeting more Lightworkers. I started getting more information about how I should, what type of videos I should make for my YouTube channel, for example, what type of materials I should teach online and offline, what I should do with my life, with my relationship, how I can put my baby to sleep and stuff like that. So there was a very, very big change in my life. But again, some of the definitions of the Lightworkers, I would say that 80–90% are people who have been incarnated here out of choice, but their soul is from somewhere else. So that means a part of their soul, it can be Acturian, Pleiadian, it can be Lyran, it can be so many different types of the different alien ancient civilizations that already exist that have chosen, volunteered even, to come here and help. Now, this already means that a part of you feels that there's something wrong. It's not that there's something wrong, of course. In God's world, everything is absolutely perfect. It means that there's a part of you that knows that life can be experienced only in the positive, or in a very, very different way than it is right now. You've come here as a volunteer. You're a very happy soul, very ancient soul, a lot of wisdom, okay? Because you've experienced many, many lifetimes. Most of those lifetimes were not here. And this is one of the reasons that you feel like you don't belong. Now, what can you do with this? If in the past you felt like you don't belong and today you feel that you do belong, that's great. But for those of you, or those of us, that still feel that in some way we don't belong, it's time to start to ground ourselves into the knowing that we have chosen a temporary human body and a temporary human experience, and we have come here out of our own choice. Okay? When you change that, when you understand that you came here to experience negativity in some way, to experience negativity and to take the rubber band back so much into the darkness, so when it shoots back up or front, you will go back into the light. That's why you chose to come here. Also, this is why you stood in line, and this is why you were selected from the many, many others that have come to this very, very interesting place. A Lightworker will also have a belief that there is something way, way more in existence. For example, a lot of people don't like to talk about aliens, don't like to talk about spiritual stuff. A Lightworker will naturally be a little bit more spiritual than other people. This does not mean or give us an excuse to be condescending in any way. But what you will understand is that, like attracts like. Some certain people, mostly from the mainstream, are just not in the same vibration as a Lightworker. In other words, you won't have so many topics to talk to them about, Some people are just interested more by the weather, and you will become bored. You will become bored with a relationship with somebody that is just not in the same vibrational frequency as you are. Now, it doesn't mean that you are more. It means that you have a specific mission. You came here not only to experience human life, but you came here to help. In other words, service to others, which is something that I'm really focusing on doing. And this is why so many Lightworkers eventually feel that vibration. They feel that authenticity. They feel that the story is somehow real for them when you are talking and when you are explaining certain things, certain more complicated spiritual aspects of life in a very simplified way. That's, for example, my mission. My mission is to break social paradigms, to show that we can do things that people think that we cannot, and by that opening up people's minds to different options, different opportunities. Eventually, people understand that if I can do it, then they can do it as well. And if they want to do it, they want to experience something that is more divine, more clear, all these type of things. This is why I've chosen a very interesting lifestyle, for example. Another thing about Lightworkers is the proportion. They're less dramatic, but they have to reach a certain age, because what happens is that the soul comes down in fragments. So when you're a child, your karma is under your parents' karma, and with time, in 7 years increments until the age of about 33, 34, you get more and more parts of your soul. And that's why the balance state of your character actually finishes, with its real seeking and studying until approximately that age. So you get a lot until 21, and then another boost until 28, and then just a few years later, you're kind of like set to be your true self. This is why it's really difficult for people who are about 30 to date people who are about 21, 22, 23, because there's a big change that's going to come. Now, when you understand this, when your entire soul has actually entered your body, and I'm not talking about the higher self, I'm talking about your true essence in some way. You might have had struggles as an adolescent, you might have had a lot of arguments, but that's just a phase. More of your soul came in, more of your higher self is in connection, and you're becoming your true self over time. A Lightworker can naturally understand these principles, and he will find it difficult to explain it to others. So when I'm talking about soul and higher self and meditation and maybe yoga and aliens and entities and ayahuasca and all these words that are so hard for us to explain to the mainstream, but when we talk with each other, it's clear. It's clear that everybody has healing abilities. It's clear that we are not just our physical body, isn't it? It's clear that our intuition explains to us what we should do, and we should trust it much more. Our guidance, in other words, our guiding spirits, our God, it's clear that there is something that is way beyond the human experience. It's clear in some way. The matrix, the illusion, the Maya, however you want to call it, every one of us calls it in a different story, but our tummy, our intuition knows the truth. And that's the beauty of it. Now, I worked with, so far, about 800 Lightworkers. And I'm talking about a week and a half, all of us together, and I've conversed with a lot of them. A lot of us come here to help. So obviously there's a lot of healers. Sometimes it's just an IT guy, just like me. Someone that's very mental, very highly educated person that wants to understand more about life and put the pieces together. And again, a light worker can be on any job in any country, both sexes of course. But the discovery that you are a light worker, you know, for example, for me, it was hard to grasp that fact because I thought it's my ego that wants to feel special, that wants to be unique. I understood maybe my ego wanted to be an old soul, you know, I'm ancient, I feel like I know a lot of things, stuff like that. Maybe it's not. But then the discovery made it clear and simple for me. Why? Because the light worker comes with a mission. Because the light worker has something that he has to do. And all this concept of service to others. I used to judge young souls for being egoistic, for being selfish, for thinking only about themselves, for hurting the planet, for doing all these things because I'm an old soul, so I know more. But that's not the way to go. The way to go is just to show, you know, to set an example for other younger souls. You can't come to a young soul and say, dude, you're a young soul, you have no idea. That's very condescending. Nobody's going to like that, okay? He's not going to learn anything. They're not going to learn anything. They're going to look at you and open their eyes and they're going to say a lot of bad, nasty things about you. Nobody's going to enjoy this. But when you understand that you're a light worker and what a light worker actually is, you start opening your mind to more options, to more opportunities. You start serving others. You start, for me, it was when I I understood that all of these channelings that I'm listening to, if it's Bashar or Seth and all these books, I stopped reading any other book. I was so addicted. And these channelings, they always said, this message is for you. And I said, what do you mean this message is for you? This message is for the light workers. They also called it the Earth team that has come here. And, you know, because we're part of an alliance. And when we go to sleep, we go up, our consciousness moves up to the 5D, to our higher self, to spaceships, to different planets, to understand and continue our different lives, as one might say. So eventually I started believing these channelings because I just couldn't stop listening. I just couldn't stop. And it wasn't only about information. It was even the same type of channeling that I heard over and over again, because I understood that there's something that is way beyond the words themselves that kept me interested and kept me coming back to it. I didn't want to have any knowledge from teachers here. I wanted knowledge from above, from those that have already ascended to higher dimensions, that have moved and helped their planet to rebalance itself and to move to a 4 or 5D experience. So I understood they have much more to teach me. And when I understood that I am one of them, and I'm only beginning to remember that I'm one of them, then I stopped seeking information outside of myself and started channeling, downloading it, improvising it, understanding that everything is already within. Now, this is, of course, my experience as a light worker, or the discovery. Every one of you already knows this. It doesn't mean that you have to have a big job, a lot of YouTube subscribers. It can be that you're just setting the light. You are a light being, okay? You are already resonating in a higher vibration than most of the population. So you're sort of like a pole, and with the other, probably millions of other light workers here, you're setting the vibration up and preparing this whole planet for the transformation that it's experiencing. Now, there are others younger than you are that are born right now that have an even higher vibration, higher frequency. So we are considered to be the second wave. The first wave came after the First World War, the Second World War, and we're considered to be the second wave that are preparing this path for the children that are going to have an even higher vibration. And again, preparing for the ascension process itself. So you don't have to do anything. So don't have any stress in your life, okay? You are already doing what it is that you came to do. Simply let go and enjoy being a human being. So my friend, thank you very much for watching me. I would love to hear your comments or anything you want to say, your experience as a light worker. If you still have a question about if you are a light worker or not, please write a comment right down here. I'll try to answer it. I review them about once a week. I'm very interested to meet and see more light workers because we have so much in common, you know? We can talk in the same language, and this is something that I'm really missing out with my I would say mainstream friends that I have, and I still keep, and they help me to ground into this reality. So once again, thank you very much for watching my video. If you enjoy it, please like it right here, comment, share it. My name is Maor. Namaste.